This is Atlantic Television Network Global News at 9 p.m. First, the headlines. Political crisis created legislative independence, says analysts. Lawyers boycott courts over murder. Tinubu unveils return to class initiative. Marketers threaten to boycott over petrol prices. Israel accuses Hezbollah of ceasefire breach. Super Eagles drop 8 places in FIFA ranking. Arnold dies during Christmas Carol performance. Warm welcome back to the news. Now to the details. Analyst says the political crisis in Rivers State has created the legislative independence in the administration of the state. Speaking on Atlantic Television Network program Open Conversation, political analyst Chief Loveday Okere JP said the Rivers State House of Assembly is carrying out its constitutional duties and has decided to reappeal the outdated Commission of Inquiry Law of 1999.
Independence to Rivers State Legislature for standing out to say this is what we want the law to be. Remember that whatever you think emotionally or whatever does not count, because what counts is what the law is and not what the law ought to be. So in this case, the Rivers State House Assembly, whose primary responsibility is to make law, represent and carry out oversight, has thought it wise to repeal that particular law. I heard you read 1999. If you check from 1999 to date, it's over 20 years. So that law seems to be obsolete. So they have thought it wise that we are going to repeal, which they have done. So, but because of the crisis in Rivers State today, some persons, depending on where you pitch your tent, may begin to pick holes here and there, may begin to interpret it, may begin to relate it to having certain intentions. But because after every 4 years, the essence of having electing new members as legislature is to also look at new things that will guide us in terms of law, in terms of representation. So even if what they have done today is not in tandem with what the people want, by the time you have...
This is coming after the Speaker, Martins Amiwile-led House of Assembly in Rivers State, had passed the bill to reappeal the Commission of Inquiry Law 1999. Analyst says to criticize and mock political opponents is not a criteria for assessment of performance in governance. Political analyst Dr. Nelson Visio-Kene is of the opinion that the only means to determine how well a government performed through delivery of the democratic dividends to the people, adding that Governor Okwebulo's mockery of his predecessor's achievements is just petty politics.
And to take whatever has been done in the previous government to a new level. And in terms of analysis and comments on how well a particular policy have done, mockery is not a criteria for assessment. If you have concrete evidence of where the person has failed, you put out what the person have done wrong. And this is coming from a governor we didn't hear much from during the campaign in terms of policy. So just it's very easy to criticize, really. It's very easy to condemn what has been done. He has a platform now for the next 4 years. So what we tell whether he is better is what he will do going forward.
Yes.
To criticize and to mock is cheap. If he had come out clearly to say this is what he promised to do and this is what he did not do, then there'll be basis for critical analysis. But just mockery is just petty politics, if you ask me. He's new now, so let us see what he's going to deliver. That is what is important.
This is coming after the Edo State Governor Monday Okwebulo on Wednesday embarked on an inspection of schools in the state, describing the Edo Best project of the immediate past government led by Godwin Obaseki as PDP Edo Best. Still in Edo State, the Edo State Vehicle Recovery Committee has retrieved 30 government-owned vehicles from officials of the immediate past administration. Chairman Kelly Okungboa, a statement issued by Fred Itwa, Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Monday Okwebulo, commended whistleblowers for providing critical information that facilitated the recoveries, including 4 vehicles retrieved from the residence of a former high-ranking official and another from a separate individual. He assured Edo residents that more recoveries would be made before the 2-week deadline set for the committee to complete its mandate, adding that the committee is prepared to travel nationwide to recover state-owned vehicles wherever they are found. The chairman reiterated the committee's determination to ensure that all government assets are accounted for and returned to the state. Assistant Inspector General of the Police, Zone 6 Calabar, AIG Jonathan Tauru, has confirmed the imprisonment of suspects who abducted Professor Ekanem Ephraim, the first female professor of medicine at University of Calabar Teaching Hospital. The 60-year-old professor died in the kidnappers' den following her abduction in 2023, according to a statement signed by the PRO of Zone 6 Police, SP Nelson Okpabi. The AIG made the disclosure when a delegation from the Nigerian Medical Association Cross River State Chapter paid him a courtesy visit in his office in Calabar. Several doctors have been kidnapped in Calabar and other parts of Cross River State in the last few years, and the AIG assured the NMA of security cover as they discharged their professional services in the public. The delegation was led by the new chairman of the NMA state, Dr. Ezoke Ekpoke, who lauded the AIG for the low crime rates in the zone in recent times, adding that the visit was to explore new collaborative frontiers for adequate security for medical doctors whom he classified as endangered species due to the activities of kidnappers. The chairman further pledged the readiness of the NMA to support the police in addition to the ongoing free mental health services for officers at the police hospital in Calabar every Tuesday. We want to Abia State, where the House of Assembly has passed the Abia State Ministry of Finance Incorporated Bill 2024, which seeks to establish the Abia State Ministry of Finance Incorporated and for other matters related thereto into law. The bill, which was sponsored by Majority Leader Okoro Uchenna Kalu, representing Arochukwu State constituency, received accelerated consideration after several debates. The merits of the law, according to Abia State House of Assembly, include conducive partnership for investment by private sector, wealth generation, and minimize reliance on federal allocation, amongst others, and shall be deemed to come into effect from the 26th of November 2024. Also during plenary, the member representing Ohafia North State constituency, Egoronu Ochuru Obasi, in a matter of urgent public importance, called on the Abia State government through the Ministry of Health to investigate the immediate and remote causes of adverse drug reactions suffered by his constituents in Abreba on Saturday after consuming drugs distributed by a donor agency, Imo Hope, for the hopeless. He said the free medical outreach was attracted by the Presbyterian Church in Abreba. In reaction, the Assembly considered the incident as huge embarrassment as the said agency did not get the approval of relevant bodies before embarking on the outreach, and the lawmakers resolved that the State's Ministry of Health should investigate the incident to ascertain who the donor agency is and the source of the drugs given to Abreba residents. Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency has shut several establishments, including churches, hotels, bars, and other businesses, for failing to comply with the state's environmental laws. The operation, which covered areas such as Mushin, Amuwo, Odofin, and Ikota Isolo, was part of ongoing efforts to address noise population and other environmental violations across Lagos. A statement shared on LASEPA's verified X handle on Thursday, LASEPA said the establishments were shut down for failing to comply with environmental standards. Despite prior notices from the agency and as a decisive move to combat noise pollution and other environmental violations, the Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency sealed several establishments across the state. The enforcement operation, which covered areas such as Mushin, Amowo Odofin, and Okota Isholo, underscores LASEPA's commitment to fostering a healthier and more sustainable environment for all Lagosians. The General Manager of LASEPA, Dr. Babatunde Ajayi, reiterated the agency's zero-tolerance policy for violations that threaten public health and community harmony towards enforcing all necessary measures to ensure compliance and environmental laws, stressing that noise pollution, improper setting of hazardous facilities, and other infractions significantly impact public health and quality of life. He further urged the businesses and individuals to prioritize compliance and adopt sustainable practices. Dr. Ajayi also urged Lagos residents to report environmental violations through LASEPA's official channels, emphasizing the need for collective action to protect the environment. Mother of 5, Adenike Alabi, has told a Makbo Grade A customary court in Ibadan to end her 25-year-old union with her husband, Lukman Alabi, on the grounds of infidelity and frequent battery. Alabi, a resident of Egbeda Tuba area of Ibadan, told the court that her husband started beating her immediately after he accused her of being responsible for a miscarriage in 1997. The petitioner said no dowry was paid on her, as both of them started cohabiting together after she became pregnant. While in his argument, Lukman said his wife no longer takes care of him because he has lost his means of livelihood. During delivering judgment, the court's president, Ms. S.M. Akin Tayo, dissolved the cohabitation, adding that there was no marriage to be dissolved between her and Lukman because no bride price was paid, and the marriage also lacked other essential requirements considered by the customary law for a valid marriage. While the other requirements include the capacity to marry, consent of the parents, and presentation of gifts, she granted custody of the 5 children produced by the union to the petitioner and ordered Lukman to be responsible for the education and other welfare of the children, and also granted order restraining Lukman from harassing, disturbing, threatening, and interfering in the private life of his ex-partner. Lawmakers in Benue State have boycotted sittings in courts over the killing of their colleague, Mike Afiku, who was killed in Otukpo local government area of the state by unknown gunmen. This is coming after the unidentified gunmen had shot dead the young lawyer, an activist, a week ago at the entrance of his house while he was driving into the residence on return from work. The deceased was said to have been shot multiple times and was later rushed to a nearby hospital by sympathizers after assailants fled, but died last Thursday. While protesting the killing of Afiku, the lawyers marched from the High Court to the police headquarters in Makurdi, where they registered their grievances and demanded justice to be served. The state chairman of the Nigerian Bar Association, Terna Ijayi, told the state commissioner of police that all lawyers in the state boycotted the courts on Thursday, not only to mourn their slain colleague, but to demand investigation quickly into the matter. Responding, the Commissioner of Police, Steve Yabnet, represented by his spokesperson, SP Catherine Anene, appealed for calm, saying that investigation into the matter was already ongoing. Makurdi High Court has ordered the reinstatement of Mr. Austin Agada and other elected executives of the Benue State chapter of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Benue chapter, whose tenures were terminated by the party's National Working Committee. In his ruling on Thursday, the presiding judge, Justice Tet Sega Kume, gave the order in a suit filed by Agada and 8 others against the APC, while in the suit, Agada and 8 others challenged the abrupt termination of their tenure in office as Benue executives of the party. They sued the party to determine whether it was right to terminate their tenures midway without giving them a fair hearing. Ayebo argued that the National Working Committee decision was also in contravention of Section 223, subsection 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 as amended, by not giving them a fair hearing before unlawfully terminating their tenures, and urged the court to make an order reinstating his clients until the expiration of their tenures on February 2, 2026. However, counsel for APC Mr. Matthew Walker urged the court to dismiss the suit, arguing that the court has no jurisdiction over the matter as it is an internal affair of the party. The presiding judge, however, dismissed the argument of the respondent counsel and granted the relief sought by the applicants and declared that the tenure of office of the Agada and other elected executives of the APC in Benue is still valid and subsisting till the completion of 4 years. In Gombe State, police command has arrested 2 suspects, Abubakar Musa and Usman Ismail, both residents of Nasarawa quarters, for their alleged involvement in a criminal conspiracy and armed robbery. A statement issued on Thursday by the police public relations officer, ASP Buhari Abdullahi, revealed that the suspect reportedly attacked 4 individuals, all of BCGA quarters in the Akko local government area of Gombe State, in Hayin Kwari Misau quarters behind Bago Primary School, as the victims were returning home from their workplaces. He said the suspects, armed with a machete, knife and a stick, allegedly dispossessed the victims of valuables, including one Techno Camon A31 smartphone, adding that upon receiving the complaint on November 25th at approximately 4:24 p.m., operatives of Operation Hataru launched a swift response and apprehended the suspects. Abdullahi also said some exhibits were recovered, including one machete, one cutlass, one stick, one knife, adding that the Gombe State Police Command reassured the public of its dedication to combating crime and maintaining peace and security across the state. President Bola Tinubu has called on French investors to invest in Nigeria, saying the country is open for business and his government is creating an enabling environment for them to thrive. Tinubu made this call on Thursday during a joint briefing with the French President Emmanuel Macron at the Elysee Palace. The Nigerian president said the youth of his country are skilled, educated and ready to be trained, stressing it is why French investors should look towards the West African nation. According to him, Nigeria is working on diversifying its economy away from fossil fuels and believes France can play a key role in that move. President Tinubu also expressed gratitude to the French government for providing stability for Nigerian businesses in the European country. In faraway Paris, President Bola Tinubu has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to prioritizing education for Nigerian children. Tinubu made the pledge on Thursday while interacting with French President Emmanuel Macron at the Palais d'Elysée in Paris and outlined plans to significantly reduce the number of out-of-school children through innovative return-to-class initiatives and skills development programs. The president highlighted the government's ongoing efforts to create a supportive framework that ensures school-aged children re-enter classrooms, emphasizing the role for motivation and skill acquisition in this initiative. Accompanied by Lady Senator Oluremi Tinubu, the Nigerian president told President Macron and First Lady Brigitte Macron that Nigeria's developmental potentials hinges on a well-educated populace, and described it as a notable progress in enhancing security across Nigeria, employing kinetic strategies as well as peace-building processes. On his part, President Macron acknowledged Nigeria's vast growth potential and the importance of investing in educational initiatives, and reflected on his formative experiences during a 6-month internship at the French Embassy in Nigeria, including visits to Lagos and Kano. Macron and Brigitte Macron expressed gratitude to President Tinubu and Senator Oluremi Tinubu for their state visits, promising to elevate the France-Nigerian partnership to new heights in Paris. Vice President Kashim Shettima has returned from Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire, where he attended the inaugural international exhibition of extractive and energy resources. Shettima arrived in Nigeria on Wednesday night via the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja. This is coming after the Vice President on Wednesday traveled to Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire for the International Exhibition of Extractive and Energy Resources, SIREXE 2024 conference, and the Vice President, while in Côte d'Ivoire, had called for strengthened governance, enhanced transparency and collaboration amongst leaders and industry players to harness Africa's resources wealth for sustainable development. He also affirmed the Nigerian government's commitment to building an inclusive extractive industry anchored on the principles of transparency, regional partnerships, and local capacity development. The summit themed policies and strategies for the sustainable development of extractive and energy industries, brought together leaders from across Africa to discuss innovative solutions for resource management and security on energy. This is the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. We'll take a short break, and we'll back. We'll get to the rest of the stories. Stay with us.
Aha! Is there
warm welcome back. Now to the details of the news. Senate has passed 4 tax reform bills proposed by President Bola Tinubu for second reading. The bills passed second reading after Okpeyemi Bamidele, Majority Leader of the Senate, led a debate on them on Thursday, and this comes after several political leaders and stakeholders kicked against the proposed tax reform bill. This is coming after the plenary of the Senate on Wednesday snowballed into anger and a shouting match as the controversial tax reform bill surfaced for debate without being listed on the order paper, which usually outline the agenda of the day's proceedings. Former Head of State, General Yakubu Gowon, retired, has given reasons why he refused to align with any political party in the country. The elder statesman made this known in Abuja when he received the League of Northern Democrats, led by former Kano State Governor Senator Ibrahim Shekarau, adding that his only allegiance is to Nigeria and his profession is the military, shaped his beliefs in serving the country above all else. He also encouraged others to think beyond regional interests and to focus on Nigeria as a whole, stressing that differences in opinions are natural, but they should never prevent Nigeria from working together to resolve issues for the good of the country. Gowon expressed hope that the guests' mission was not just about returning to the old thinking where the North prioritizes the North and the West prioritizes the West and all other sectors. The Midwest emerged to think for itself, advising that his position has always been to do whatever the North must do to serve the greater interest of Nigeria. He also said he supported the creation of multiple states to prevent any one region from becoming too powerful and threatening the country's unity, but to focus on national unity, adding that North had to make sacrifices to address fears of domination by one region, especially given the size and population of the North, saying that the perspective was born out of extensive discussion of political leaders, chiefs, and various groups. He said that the decision advocates for state creation stemmed from the desire to prevent fragmentation of the nation, adding that Nigeria's population and diversity are strengths, and if any citizens unite despite differences, they can build Nigeria into what all envision to be true. House of Reps has confirmed Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede as the substantive Chief of Army Staff. This followed his screening on Wednesday by the Joint Committees of Defense and Army. The committee chairman, Babajimi Benson, submitted the reports during plenary and urged the House to confirm Oluyede, a prayer granted at the session presided over by the Deputy Speaker, Benjamin Kalu. Chief of Army Staff Olufemi Oluyede has pledged his commitment to bringing lasting peace to the country if confirmed in a substantive position. Oluyede, who made the pledge when he appeared before the House of Reps Joint Committee on Defense and Army at the National Assembly Complex in Abuja, said the security environment in the country today requires a united effort on the part of every Nigerian, and called for strong bilateral and multilateral alliances with neighboring countries, as well as a deep collaboration with efforts joined by the services and other security agencies.
I will tell you that as it is now, there's robust cooperation between the services. And that, for me coming in, I intend to enhance that and be a team player at that level so as to ensure that Nigeria gets better secured and maybe we expect better socio-economic development. Aircrafts have different strata of employment. We have the tactical and the strategic strata of employment. Now, the air support that we require as an army is the one at the tactical level, whereby the aircraft will be ready available for us during operations, the conduct of operations at tactical level, while the Air Force, being the main players in that sphere, are to give us strategic cover. So we require those aircrafts and the air wing to support our operations.
Chairman of the House Committee on Defense, Honorable Babajimi Benson, in his remarks said, Nigeria continues to grapple with an evolving spectrum of security challenges, ranging from insurgency and banditry to communal clashes and cyber threats. According to the lawmaker, for over a decade, the armed forces of Nigeria have been at the forefront of responding to these challenges, launching numerous operations and providing vital support to internal security efforts, and commended the significant success recorded in recent times, adding that it is clear that work needs to be done to sustain peace across the regions of the country. He also said, as a partner in the pursuit of secure and prosperous Nigeria, the House remains steadfast to the commitment of legislative oversight and support for the armed forces.
I commend the significant successes recorded in recent years. It is clear that more work remains to be done to achieve sustainable peace across all regions of the country. The current dynamics of global security demand innovative and adaptive strategies. Threats are no longer confined to traditional battlefields. They now extend to cyberspace, economic domains, and even the social-political fabric of nations. In light of this, we must prioritize a forward-looking approach to national defense, ensuring that our military is well-equipped and adequately trained to address both conventional and emerging threats. Dear colleagues, distinguished nominee, and esteemed guests, the task before us today is not only to assess the qualifications and vision of the nominee for Chief of Army Staff, but also to establish a collaborative roadmap for tackling Nigeria's security challenges. As a partner in the pursuit of a secure and prosperous Nigeria, this House remains steadfast in its commitment to legislative oversight and support for the armed forces. We will continue to provide the necessary legal frameworks, advocate for adequate funding, and monitor the implementation of appropriations to ensure accountability and transparency in military operations.
Aha! Is there it?
Bro, I dey tell you, this match 3-0.
Okay.
If I win you, something will come out.
Don't play with me. Fast ball, fast ball. Ah, you know what? You go shot
Bro.
me. Now we got this man.
Keep the banter going with Glow Borrow Me Credit or Data. Dial star 303 hash to borrow airtime or data and pay later.
Is there ready?
Only one thing I didn't.
Power your relentless ambition with ultra-high-speed data. Glow Unlimited.
Senate Committee on Army, led by its chairman, Senator Abdulaziz Musa Yaradua, on Wednesday began the screening of the acting Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Olotubosun Oluyede, for confirmation as the substantive Chief of Army Staff. General Oluyede was appointed acting Chief of Army Staff on Wednesday 30th, following the illness of Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, who passed away on November 5th. In his opening remarks, Senator Yaradua outlined its expectations for the nominee, focusing on his professional skills, amongst others.
Therefore, this screening exercise intends to bring to bear your professional skills, experiences, and expertise based on your strategic security knowledge and vision towards defending Nigeria from external aggression, maintaining its territorial integrity, securing its borders from violation on land, suppressing insurrection, and acting in aid of the civil authorities to restore order, among others. Furthermore, your abilities to offer proposals towards finding solutions for military funding and welfare of personnel will be of interest to this committee. Due to the sensitive nature of security matters, the screening will be conducted in closed door, and so you should feel free to express your vision for your designated office in solving the needs of the people in the security sector and the sector itself in order to provide the peace and stability needed for economic growth and development of the country.
The screening exercise, conducted behind closed doors due to the sensitive nature of the security matters, provided an opportunity for Oluyede to share his vision for the Nigerian Army. Former Vice President Yemi Osinbajo and tangible outcomes, especially in impoverished societies. He said this while giving a keynote address at the Technology New Media Citizens and Governance Conference in Lagos on Thursday, and highlighted the socio-economic toll of protests on informal workers and traders who depend on daily earnings. While addressing the role of the elites in driving meaningful change, Osinbajo underscored their responsibility in crafting actionable objectives and building coalitions that lead to infrastructure and structural reforms, adding that the networks and the resources to build coalitions for political change often lead to structural reforms, the type of change that makes a real difference. Osinbajo also reflected on the dual-edged nature of technology and social media in mobilizing political movements, praised the platform for enabling leaders' coordination, warned against the absence of clear objectiveness or leadership, which can hinder the achievement of actionable outcomes. Chairman of the National Population Commission, Nasir Kwara, has announced plans to conduct Nigeria's population and housing census in 2025, nearly 2 decades after the last census in 2006. He made this known during the 2024 anniversary of the Nairobi Summit on the International Conference of Population and Development held in Abuja on Wednesday. While the announcement came 18 years after Nigeria's last census in 2006, despite the United Nations recommendation for countries to conduct population counts every 10 years. Previous attempts to hold the census in 2023 were postponed under the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari, and the delay was attributed to the desire to let the incoming administration take ownership of the process. Speaking at the event, Kwara stressed on the significant impact of the delay, particularly in hampering informed decision-making and effective resource allocation, and also highlighted the need for accurate data to address pressing issues in rural and underserved areas. He said Nigeria's inability to conduct timely census had hindered progress of sexual reproductive rights and gender-based violence, promoting that in parts of the Foundation of Africa. Toyin Saraki pledged continued advocacy and support to policy in advance the ICPD agenda and called on private, philanthropic and multi-sectoral stakeholders to collaborate in accelerating progress towards achieving the initiative's goals. In Anambra State, former Governor Peter Obi has expressed concern over the waves of insecurity plaguing Nigeria, describing it as a saddening and heartbreaking event. A statement on Thursday via X, Obi lamented the increasing attacks on communities and businesses, stressing that the hardship being faced by Nigerians is exacerbated by their inability to sleep with their 2 eyes closed. Speaking on recent incidents, Obi condemned the killing of about 30 people on separate terrorist attacks on communities and 2 local government areas of Benue State, and also decried the attack on motorcycle showroom owned by Innocent Vehicle Manufacturing in Nnewi, Anambra State, where 3 staff members were reportedly kidnapped. He highlighted the double burden of economic hardship and insecurity, stressing that productive businesses and critical infrastructure are often targeted, further discouraging local and foreign investors, and called for immediate action to combat insecurity. He extended his condolences to the victims of the Benue attacks and sympathized with Innocent Chukwuma over the assault of his business, and also urged security agencies to intensify efforts to rescue the kidnapped workers. Force Criminal Investigation Department has detained a self-acclaimed licensed bureau de changer operator Chinedu Ngoka over alleged fraud of 320 million naira. The FCID's Police Public Relations Officer ASP Aminat Mayegun confirmed the arrest and detention in a post in her ex-handle, saying the police received a petition addressed to the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Ayodeji Ogundele, FCID Annex, Lagos, in September 9. She said the arrest followed a petition filed by one Chinedu Laz and partners, DEO Gracia Chambers, on behalf of Mr. Tochukwu Unachukwu and Managing Director of Casco Electronics Company Limited, that Ngoka and wife, Janet, were involved in a fraudulent scheme of about 320 million naira. According to her, upon receiving the petition, detectives from the Special Investigations Team SIT of the Anti-Fraud Section attached to the FCID Annex in Lagos swiftly swung into investigation, leading to the arrest of the suspect. He added that the further investigation revealed that between March and May last year, while Unachukwu made payments totaling 320 million to Ngoko and Jane, his wife. In a separate development, Amnesty International says no fewer than 24 protesters were allegedly killed and over 1,200 were detained by the Nigerian police during the nationwide End Bad Governance protests. The organization country director Issa Sanusi, who disclosed this while addressing a news conference in Kano State on Thursday, presented a documented report on the protests, adding that those killed included 20 young people, an older person, and 2 children. He said the Nigerian authorities must hold the police and other security agencies to account for unleashing deadly force on people who do not constitute an imminent threat to lives, stressing that President Bola Tinubu and his government must conduct prompt, thorough, independent, impartial, transparent and effective investigations into the allegations of human rights violations during the End Bad Governance protests, and ensure that those suspected to be responsible are identified and brought to justice in fair trials. This is coming after between August 12 and 17, 2024, Amnesty International carried out field research in Kano, Katsina and Jigawa states, where evidence gathered include videos and photographs as well as eyewitness accounts, medical workers and victims, relatives, friends and acquaintances on the ground. Finnish authorities says pro-Biafran agitator Simon Ekpa, who was arrested in Finland for alleged terrorism-related activities, is scheduled to face charges in May 2025 potentially. A senior detective superintendent at Finland's National Bureau of Investigation, Mikko Lasonen, confirmed that the district court had set May 2025 as the deadline for prosecutors to present possible charges against Ekpa, while the Finnish government had last week announced the arrest of Ekpa alongside 4 others on suspicion of terror-related activities, including incitement to violence and terrorism financing. Finnish police confirmed that Ekpa, described as the self-proclaimed Prime Minister of the Biafra Republic, government in exile, allegedly used social media to promote violence in the southeast region, targeting civilians and authorities. Suspect activities prompted global petitions from Nigerians urging the Finnish and Nigerian governments as well as the European Union to take action, and in response, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs summoned the Finnish ambassador to Nigeria, Lina Piavnen, to demand Finland's cooperation in addressing the threats posed by Ekpa. A statement by the spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Kimiebi Ebenefa, said the government described Ekpa's arrest as a critical step in addressing IPOB's activities and mitigating the influence of transnational actors on Nigeria's national security. Speaking on the purported plot by IPOB to declare the Republic of Biafra on December 2nd, the counsel for the group, Ifeanyi Ejiofor, called for the peace and unity in Southeast, urging those involved in violence and forced agitations to abandon their divisive actions. Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics has concluded plans to embark on a 2-week warning strike, commencing from December 2nd, 2024. The decision was arrived at the National Executive Council meeting of the Union in Abuja on Thursday, where ASUP criticized government for reneging in implementing a number of demands tabled before them. President of ASUP, Comrade Banga Shama, who announced the planned industrial action, said the 11 demands for which governments have been recalcitrant to meet dates back to successive governments, especially former President Muhammadu Buhari. This is coming after ASUP had issued a 15-day ultimatum